What is up, y'all? We're here for our weekly manifestation oracle message. We're just going to take a look at this next week and see how we should focus and direct our energy and intentions where our manifestations are concerned. Morning affirmations. The morning is the seed level of the day. So the consciousness and the energy you're in the morning informs the rest of the day that follows. Your seed level of energy in the morning is going to affect kind of the mood you're in for the whole day. Like, have you ever woken up and you're just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and you just can't get out of like crabbiness and frustration? But if you can reset yourself in the morning, then that changes the trajectory of your day. There were many years ago, I would say circa 2010, think back, this would have been the Liz that had not seen The Secret yet, right? This was solely like Christian Liz with greater philosophy, but no exposure to anything like spiritual in like metaphysical nature. Like my particular brand of Christian that my family was from, we were very spiritual, but it was also sort of like a Pentecostal sort of spiritual. So we would believe in like dream interpretation. I was always interested in like astrology and things like that, but I hadn't learned anything from like the New Age world, or I hadn't started studying Judaism or ancient mysticism yet. And I was like just in a state of disgruntled and suffering all the time. There was always chaos. Like, I grew up in a chaotic household that there was just a lot of crisis around all the time. And so I had been exposed to chaos that wasn't necessarily like chaos that I created or perpetuated, but it was just like, I was just overstimulated. I was in like trauma response always and didn't know it until like last year, right? So I was very disgruntled. I was very frustrated, and it felt like nothing worked out for me. And it was like the world was like, it was set up against me, and nothing would work out. Everything would go wrong. And it was just, I would start off just sort of like, however the day started, and it would just pile up from there. And I remembered thinking, at one point near my breaking point, I just wrote on a Post-it that I had a goal that one day I would feel joyous for no reason. Nothing would prompt me to feel that happiness. It wasn't circumstantial. It would just be coming forth from the inside. Because I've always been a light and bubbly person, but when you are like pummeled with circumstances and you're unaware that you can take ownership of the situation and turn it around, that you have control over your thoughts, that you can cultivate your thoughts and choose them. I was just at the mercy of the thoughts that were coming into my head and the things that were happening to me. But when I learned that you could cultivate your consciousness and choose your thoughts and encourage certain thoughts and discourage other thoughts, right? And you could change your vibration, and that started to change your environment and change your circumstances. That changed everything for me. And one thing that was one of the earliest practices that I started to do that changed my life and changed my mentality and changed my experience of each day was that I started starting my day with a sacred morning ritual. And in the mornings, I would do my whatever prayers that I was going to do, and put the circle of light around me with calling the angels, and put the protection around me. And it started to grow from there. I would find some sort of spiritual nourishment to listen to that usually had a healing modality with it, some kind of like meditation or exercise. And so that would be like my healing ritual. I would start my day like that and do it in the mornings. And I would always have special times set aside for Sunday mornings. And there would be certain rituals tacked on into my Sunday mornings. And slowly over time, it started to grow into more and more. And now it's like, well, I have my morning ritual, I have my evening prayers, I have middle of the day things, I have Friday night Shabbat, I have Sunday mornings still. And all that to say is that it's those practices that create the conditions for that inner peace, for fulfillment, for joy. And I can honestly say that now, like, I mean, yes, the outer world events are very distressing, but on a personal level, I'm very happy and I'm very fulfilled and pretty content and joyous a lot of the time. And it doesn't have to be prompted by anything. And so I think that began, and I think that the morning, starting your morning off in an intentional way, and giving yourself some sacred time to set your consciousness and your energy for the day, it changed everything. It changed how people were experiencing me, and it changed how I was experiencing life. And I'm not saying that I haven't been a handful for people ever again, but it certainly made a big difference, and it started to change things from there. And so one of the things I do is do a kosher hand washing when I wake up, because in Jewish mysticism, it's believed that a negative feminine spirit sits on your hands at night, kind of like a succubus, and sucking your energy and kind of leaving you with this like residue of negativity. So before you take in any news and anything that could turn your consciousness sour or negative or dark, it's good to wash your hands. And so you would start with a vessel of water. So it's not just like you put them under the tap, like you put the water into a vessel and you take your right hand, because that's the hand of giving, and you start with the water vessel in the right hand, and you pour 2 pours on the left hand, and you say Yud in your mind or under your breath. And then you switch the vessel to the other side. Vav Che. This is the tetragrammatron. Yud Che Vav Che. This is a very holy name, so it's not the kind of thing you want to just be like saying, willy-nilly, right? So you're saying this under your breath, and you go one side, the other side, one side, the other side, and one side, the other side. I do 3 sets. So Yud Che Vav Che, Yud Che Vav Che, Yud Che Vav Che, and then dry off, and you have your hands washed in a kosher fashion. What else do I do? Oh, I say the waking prayer upon waking, and you can look this up on the internet. You can search like Hebrew morning prayer, and you can say it in Hebrew and then in English. But there's a different prayer for men and women. It's phrased a bit differently, so you can look that up. But I add that's what I do upon waking. Then I do a hand washing, and then I come down, get my coffee started, pray over my vitamins, take my vitamins, and then I do some prayer rituals and my Zohar study before I get the day going. And if I get into my day without doing that, it feels like driving without a seatbelt. It really does. So make morning, like a morning sacred ritual time, part of your new daily favorite thing. And that also is a good time. Like that's when I write out in my planner and in my journal, like the things that I want to achieve or accomplish for the day. And I have found that writing down lists is very powerful. Like taking a thought and then bringing it into the physical by taking a pen with ink and writing it on paper is an act of creation. It's not enough to keep it in the digital world because you're not physicalizing it, right? You're not bringing it fully into the material fruition in that fashion. Same with speaking. You're bringing something into the physical by speaking a thought, right? So these are magical acts of creation and manifestation. So writing out in a planner, in a paper planner, you know, what your intentions are and your goals are for the day helps you have the accountability to get it done. And that's another thing too. When I started making lists and actually paying attention, setting that kind of like magical intention into the list, I was able to get a lot more done, and I was able to alleviate overwhelm and organize my thoughts and figure out ways that, you know, were efficient and got things, got the needle moving forward, so to speak. So say positive affirmations each morning to open the gates of manifestation. Morning time is powerful. Ooh, alchemy. Okay, you have the Midas touch right now, and every project you begin turns to gold. So this is really tying in to the fact that this is the first week of the spiritual, like, new year. Whereas, like, every year there's a cyclical reading of the Torah, and there are corresponding portions to each day. We just finished Simchat Torah today. In fact, I saw the live stream. I caught it on this morning, and we were just talking about it in last night's video. I was like, I think it was yesterday, but anyway, I caught it this morning, and I saw the last bit of it. And it was like the final portion of the Torah being read and sung and celebrated. And then this week starts the Torah reading over again. So we're in Genesis. So this is the first week of the Torah portions. This is the seeds we're planting for the new year to come. You know, we've got our new soul. We are feeling good. We've been turbocharged. Now we are setting out on a new chapter in our new timeline for the year. So there's a lot of creative energy right now. It's very like cardinal energy. We just had our Aries full moon, which was sort of like more of like a full moon behaving like a new moon. A lot of Aries energy, planting seeds and putting a lot of fire and passion with those seeds too. So you have the Midas touch right now. Things that you initiate do have sort of a charmed energy around them. So being clear in your intentions and setting those and maybe affirming them through writing them out in a journal or saying them out loud or writing them on pieces of paper and then burning them, whatever you want to do to make that a physicalized ritual, then that's going to help things out a lot. All right. Let's see, worthiness. Okay, so you know how like they'll say, we'll say the magic words and that's what does the magic. Well, it's like we've already said, we're going to set our mind, we get our mindset straight. And then we're going to do the alchemy of bringing that into a physical, like symbolic gesture, like writing out our affirmation or speaking them, getting clear on that. And then the other like magic sauce, magic key, magic ingredient, magic word, whatever you want to say, is our self-worth. So if we can do all these things right, but if we don't feel worthy of receiving what we're asking for, then we won't get it. It won't come, or even if it does, we'll like somehow sabotage it. So if we want to receive our manifestation or our prayer or our goal, we do have to feel and believe that we are worthy and deserving of that thing. And so in order for it to actually come and be drawn into us, we have to have that worthiness, and it's got to be a strong self-worth, because if we wobble, then we can fall back into that reactive behavior or low self-worth patterning that ends up sabotaging the good thing that we're drawing in, or repelling it when it's so close. Right? So close you could almost taste it, and then there was a reactive behavior that ended up repelling the thing and creating the need for process again, maybe delaying the thing for another several months. So you're just like, So worthiness is a key element here. Know that you deserve to receive good in all ways. This is what we've been preparing for. And sometimes when we've been through hard things and we've been healing and we've been going through a metamorphosis and we've been in sort of a limbo between chapters, it's like we have to learn new behavior in order to receive at a new level of deserving, right? Maybe you've healed a lot and you feel like you deserve more, but you haven't had experience at receiving more yet. And so it feels foreign and your ego isn't used to it and your subconscious isn't used to it and your nervous system isn't used to it. So this is where sometimes we have what Brené Brown calls foreboding joy, when things are okay and things are good, but our nervous system is so trained on crisis and tragedy that we can't settle down. And so we have this paranoia that we're not safe to feel joy, and we're not safe to let our guard down, and we're not safe to enjoy the moment. And so, sorry, the headlights outside just distracted me. We're really on edge these days. One set of headlights that we're not expecting, and we're like, who is that? What's going on? So yes, foreboding joy, right? Just being able to relax. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. And then you feel like, oh, something's coming. The rug's going to get ripped out. Is it something car related? Is it something health related? Is it something, you just go through like the checklist, right? So really like giving yourself the grace to remind yourself, when you start getting paranoid, and you've checked everything and you've covered your bases and you're all good, just tell yourself out loud, like, this is foreboding joy. My nervous system isn't used to getting the things that I truly deserve, but it is safe to receive the things that I truly deserve. I am worthy of this. Good things are happening. New chapters are starting. I don't have to repeat the past. That's not what I need anymore. We're learning from inspiration and grace rather than pain and process. We figured it out, right? We don't know everything, but we know enough to know we need to, a fool knows they know little, right? So we're open to learning, and we have choked on our own hubris too many times. And so now it's like, okay, God, you got my attention. I am now able to hopefully learn from inspiration rather than being blind and in denial of myself and tripping in through those old patterns. We can identify those and avoid them now. And so adding to, we have prepared, we're worthy. It's just what we're not really familiar with it. One thing that I like to do, sometimes I get really hyper vigilant when I'm leaving the house and I have any kind of disembodied anxiety. It causes me to be so hyper vigilant and obsessive compulsive about checking any sort of threat to the household before I leave. Like, I'll obsessively check doors locked. I'll obsessively check for electronics that could be fire hazards. And many times this will cause me to be late for wherever I'm going. And I catch myself when I'm doing it. And I have to say out loud to myself, I am being hyper vigilant because I have disembodied anxiety that I can't identify. There's no real threat. It's just my hypervigilance. And that usually will allow me the peace of mind to finally just go to the car and leave, not having to turn around and come back and recheck everything again, right? So it's talking out loud to yourself and saying, nervous system, I deserve this. I am worthy. Everything's fine. It's safe to let your guard down. We're safe. We've checked, it's safe to receive. All right. Simplify your life. Eliminate clutter from your home and work life to balance the flow of activities. This is so true. It never fails that like I will clean out a closet or reorganize an area or something of that nature, and then like manifestations will just flow through. Like somebody will give me a bag of clothes they're getting rid of, and like so many cute things will be in there. Or like my aunt will be getting rid of another like expensive bag that she doesn't want, it could be anything. It could be something random that I wanted that appears out of nowhere. I broke this little vase recently, and it was just one of those ones that you get like if a florist does an event and then they have all these little flowers and they're just like $1, but they're all cute. They're different kinds, right? So where I work, we have like people doing like rehearsal dinners and wedding receptions there all the time. So we're always left with all of these like props and that just pile up. So I had taken home this vase that was like, had these ribbed like stripes, and it was really unique and I loved it. It's just like something like small like that can really make my day. And I had like my little zinnia clippings in them and they were all cute. And I knocked over this one particular vase that I liked, and it like the top of it popped off, and I was like, it's not worth trying to glue it. It's never gonna look right. I just accept that it's gone, and I was hoping that I'd be able to manifest another one. I was like, you know what, if it's meant to be, another one will come back to me. Maybe not like this, but maybe, The other week, we had a wedding rehearsal that did all the little different kinds of bottles again, and wouldn't you know it, there was multiples of this one that I lost. So I got to replace my little vase, right? But because when something, like the universe loves a void, the universe loves to fill a void. So when there has been stuff taking up space in your environment, and then you take that thing and you get rid of it and it's out of your environment, like that creates a vacuum, an energetic vacuum, and the universe then seeks to fill that vacuum. So for instance, there's this catch-all like office organizer thing at my work where our computers are, and we have a big work table where we like polish glassware and stuff. It's called the pass. So we have this like office organizer sitting on the pass. And there's always some person's like lost reading glasses in this thing. And even when there was this one pair that like everybody put on for months, nobody ever came back to get them. They were just in the way. They were clutter. And I was like, I needed like one of those rage things, like a rage room where you get to break glass or whatever. I needed that moment. And I was like, I'm breaking the glasses. So I tried to break the glasses. It was unsatisfying because they just bent. All they did was bend and twist. And I was like, fuck these glasses. All right, throw them away. So I threw the glasses away. And the next day I came into work and there was another pair. I'd have been left behind. Another pair. Literally in less than 12 hours. So, it's very exciting. Sometimes it's hard to let go of things. But it's like you're almost like setting yourself up for an Easter egg hunt that just comes to you. It's really great. So you never know what you're going to be gifted by the universe by getting rid of a bunch of stuff. If you want to call in love, let's get rid of our old ex. Get rid of all their stuff and like all their memories about. Clean out your phone, right? Get a hard drive, dump all that shit, clean the phone out, right? Make the space for that person to come in your life. Same in your schedule. I had to simplify my schedule a little bit. Like several months ago, you guys might have noticed that like last year I was doing shorts, and I would do a short every day. And I would upload that short to TikTok and to Instagram and to YouTube. And honestly, it started to affect the fact that like no one was watching my videos because they were just watching shorts. And then it was weird because the audience I was building from the shorts they weren't watching the videos anyway. So it just wasn't adding to any of my platforms. I had some reach on Instagram, but it wasn't a lot. And so I thought, okay, it's not that I don't want good messages to get out and I don't want to share these shorts on Instagram, but right now it's gridlocking my creativity because I don't have any time left to think about doing anything else other than just trying to meet the demands of the day as far as content goes. And it didn't seem to be growing my platform or becoming anything more than just what it was. And so I gave myself the permission to stop making the shorts. And I didn't have another plan necessarily, but I just let myself allow for that space again in the day. And that's when I decided that I wanted to build a new platform where I could post more evergreen subject-specific content that's easier to search. Whereas these readings have tons of spiritual wisdom and deep wisdom secrets, but they're random and they come up. They're not random because they come up and the things apply as they are relevant to the week that we're in. But as far as like being able to go back and look for the video where we talked about this thing or that thing, that would be very difficult. And I think that that's one reason why I haven't grown a lot as a spiritual teacher as far as like on this platform. And so I wouldn't have had that idea though had I not given myself the space in my schedule and kind of taken that risk. So I've been working on that behind the scenes and I haven't like launched all that yet, but it's in the works and it's coming. But again, it came from simplifying my life and doing less instead of trying to add more, right? All right, let's get a couple of cards from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. Give us a little bit more clarity and juice. Ooh, Dragon's Duel. Okay, this came out recently. Inner conflict, morality, conscious choice. So as we water the seeds of our consciousness that we're planting for the week, for the month, for the year, we want to feed the dragon we want to see grow, right? And so are you feeding your positive thoughts and your optimism and your hope? Or are you feeding into cynicism and despair and negativity and darkness? It's anybody's guess for me, depending on the day. You know, we all struggle, right? But the thing is that in an instant, we can cut ourselves off from the Creator, from our fall of consciousness. But the grace is that in an instant, we can reconnect with a shift of our mindset. When we shift our consciousness back into the image of the Creator, into Creator consciousness, sharing consciousness, love, you know, goodness. It's like we're back, baby. We're tapped in. But when we get insecure, when we get fearful, when we get jealous or covetous or judgmental or critical, we cut ourselves off from those blessings. So Dragon's Duel, the opponent, our adversary, is always right there, right at eye level with us, right? Shoulder to shoulder, equally yoked, trying to throw us off our game, trying to sour our consciousness, trying to sour our grapes. So we're planting seeds that don't yield goodness, but yield chaos, right? But this is the resistance that creates the evolution in us, that creates our strength and reveals our true light. Because if we can stay woke, essentially, stay conscious, stay aware, stay ready, stay in active player mode, then we can see the opponent coming and we don't fall into the temptation. We can brace ourselves through practicing mindfulness and presence, right? We can watch, okay, what is my consciousness right now? Checking in, what are my feelings? Am I in a dangerous place? Am I, dancing with the devil here? Like, am I falling into the temptations of fear and frustration and irritants? Or am I choosing, patience and goodness and kindness and grace? All right, let's see. Let's grab one more card. the seeds we're planting right now, this is what we're going to be growing for the year to come. So this week, if we can stay in that high, consciousness, that high vibrational state, that's going to be very beneficial for us. So the Swan Queen, I love it. Transformation, intuition, and patience. Like we just said. So getting through that kind of temptation by the darkness to lure you in, to fall into like a reactive short circuit, crashing out or what have you. It's like when we resist that, that's when we reveal true light, when we really have true transformation and true change. And that's where the Midas touch comes from, because the more that we can transform and heal and reveal that light, the more of that, the revelation of that light is magical and miraculous. And that's the creative stuff, the paints that get put on the canvas of creation, right? This is the creation materials. So embracing challenging moments is actually helpful, because then you can lean into the work and into the transformation. One of the lessons of the Torah this week is to bring our joy and our gladness to our spiritual work and to our transformation. Like, don't come, with like sourpuss faces on and feet dragging, like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to read the Torah. I don't want to read the Bible. I don't want to go to church. I want to pray. Oh, what a drag. Like, that's not doing anything, right? That's not even having the right consciousness to appreciate the gift and the moment that you're being given, right? But when we come at it with joy and gladness, like, oh, this is my delicious ritual that's going to fill me up for the day. And this is what gives me the light that I can share with others. And you want to come at it with gladness, right? So we do our work, we appreciate God, and we do it with gladness when everything's going well, but also when things aren't going so well either. Because it's usually when things aren't going so well that we are having the bigger win in the upper realms. Think about when you're watching a movie. If you're watching someone, like a character that has everything going for them and everything's working out and everything just keeps working out and everything goes their way, it's not a very interesting story, is it? And you don't really cheer for them as much. Like, I always wondered about people who were like so obsessed with Tom Brady and like the New England. It's like, why is it so much fun to just win like that all the time? And never have like, suspense, or never have an underdog moment, But like when people see the underdog, even like in screenwriting, they teach you to be awful to your main character, to put them through the ringer, because that is what gets the audience emotionally invested in the character. They root for the character when the character goes through struggle. So it reveals more excitement and more, the audience is more invested. They care more. It's a bigger deal when the character has been beat up and beat up and beat up, and finally the character triumphs, right? So, think about little Harry Potter, right? If he wasn't stuffed in that little hall closet with clothes that didn't fit him, and he wasn't treated so badly, we may not have rooted for him so much if he was just like this popular guy who came onto campus and was winning and everybody loved him. Like, it'd be like, all right, good for you, I guess, So too are we, when we have a hard time and something is not easy for us to transform, and it's a hard pill to swallow, and we're still trying. That counts more. It counts more in the upper realms. It releases more of that magic sauce, that miracle juice to create with, rather than everything being easy and going your way and then being like, all right, great, I was patient today. Like, you didn't really reveal any light. You didn't change anything. It's just everything went cool and it all worked out. But when something is pressing you and pushing your buttons and you're not getting your way, and you can still find the goodness, you can still look for the face of God even in that, and see the way it's changing you, and seeing the way it's causing you to have to be stronger and more resilient, and it's causing you to have to choose a good attitude instead of just having one because everything's so easy, right? That reveals more light of your soul, and it gives you more street cred in the upper realms. All right, y'all, that's all for tonight. We will be back together tomorrow for our weekly alchemy message, where we unpack our approach to the process this week, to our spiritual lessons that we're working with. Until then, peace be with you.